Oh, whoa, news is what you're watching. I'm Gloria Borger. Welcome to the news, the OO news.
Would you look at that?
Welcome to OO News. I'm your host, Gloria Borger. And today we have one story to talk about as usual, because it's not really news, it's just stuff that I talk about, because I am Gloria Borger. This video is about the frick off grilled cheese sandwich furs that I talked about in the last video about this topic. I will be using code words because the last video about this topic became Casey Neistat. Casey Neistat is a code word for Casey Neistat because I think if you say the word Casey Neistat, your chances of becoming Casey Neistat are even higher than if you don't say Casey Neistat. So I'm using a code word for it. Likewise, I'll be using a code word for grilled cheese sandwich, which means grilled cheese sandwich, as you can see on your screen, to avoid
Casey Neistat.
So whenever I say grilled cheese sandwich, just know that it means grilled cheese sandwich. So the first video I made about this topic, the only other video I made, it was a video. Don't worry, pretty much everything that I said in that video, I still stand by, but there's a couple things that I don't anymore, and there's a lot more information that I have learned about the entire subject after talking with a few people. So I'm gonna go through all that information with you now, just to give you more context, because I believe that without context, without proper context, you can't really make your own decision about the situation yourself. So that is why I'm going to be giving you that context right now. One important thing that I would like to cover is Sonic Fox, who I talked about in the first video. After watching my video, here's what Sonic Fox had to say on Twitter. Also, people, yes, I saw Pkrussl's video. Stop DMing me about it. All I have to say is, while it is ironic he called me a moron without knowing my name, he doesn't know the intent behind the tweet, or me at all for that matter. Yes, I know Jason is not a grilled cheese sandwich apologist, although I knew the snide comment would set him off. It would make him even angrier in my mentions. Yes, being an a-hole to people is one of my favorite pastimes. The only thing I really found hypocritical about the video was that he said I was like every other fur, calling right-wing people I disagree with grilled cheese sandwiches, where literally a name search plus the word grilled cheese sandwich would have disproven that. Makes a video about generalizing, then generalizes me, LOL, ZZZ. Those are my only thoughts though. I thought he had okay points. I disagree entirely with him saying that grilled cheese sandwiches don't exist anymore, but I also don't really care too much if he thinks I'm a moron or not. So stop the spamming, please. So I saw this and I responded as follows. I said, thank you for watching. I shouldn't have called you a moron, so I apologize for that. I never said you were like most furs, calling people you don't agree with grilled cheese sandwiches. I said you were just another person on Twitter calling people grilled cheese sandwich apologists when they aren't. 1 out of 2. I don't think most furs call people grilled cheese sandwiches. I never said anything like that in my video, so I'm not sure where you got that. If you want to discuss more, I'd love to talk about it with you. I honestly should have before including you in the video. Just let me know, my DMs are open. Then he responded, there's no ill will, I was just annoyed at the immediate remark, hee hee hee. Jason annoys me to no end with billions of receipts. But there's no worries. I'm a fox of forgiven and forgetting, and politics aren't much my thing. Even I know when callouts and criticism on my end were warranted, even when I'm being rude to people. And then I said, thanks for being so civil. Now I know for sure you aren't a moron. Also, good luck to you with your career. You're doing great things. Keep it up. But yeah, there's that. So I just wanted to, sorry for calling you a moron. I shouldn't have done that. I really need to stop calling people morons, don't I? I really should just stop doing that. Once again, I've assumed and made an no, but the way that he responded to me calling him a moron just shows that he's not actually a moron. He handled it very well, very professionally, so I was professional back. He's definitely not a moron. He's great at what he does. That's all there is to it. It's all good. We're on good terms and everything. I just wanted to point that out and just apologize for my mistake, calling someone a moron when I shouldn't have. There's that. So I apologize because I failed to represent the situation accurately. Whoopsie ding dong. I can't say that or I'll get Casey Neistat. So, where did frick off grilled cheese sandwich furs come from? Well, I do this hand motion too much. Let me show you where it came from. So there is a group of furries, will that word get me, Casey Neistat? Known as the Furry Raiders. And as far as I can see, there's not much about them before 2016. Their official Twitter was created 2015. So there's really not much of this group of the furries before 2015. Who are the Furry Raiders? According to them on their Twitter bio, their mission is to help build a stronger community with projects that challenge social. Our mission is to help build a stronger community with projects that challenge social obstacles while encouraging personal creativity and expression. What projects, you might ask? Projects such as causing an entire convention to be shut down, trying to mess with the room blocks at Denver 2018. More on that in just a second. So I'm gonna be using a lot of furry news sources for for this information. WikiFurry. Let's take a look at their page about Furry Raiders, shall we? Furry Raiders is an international base group headquartered in Colorado, USA. Their stated goal is to help improve the furry fandom by providing resources and services so everyone has equal opportunity. Okay, there's their little icon there. It's a paw. That's paw. But it looks like a
grilled cheese
flag. And this is lots of the members of the Furry Raiders wear armbands that are questionably similar to the armbands that the
grilled cheese
wore, especially the one that this guy wears. This is a person who is an animal named BoxLer. And normally people like this, I wouldn't want to say their name to just make them more famous, you know? But I think it's important to know who this is because this person and a lot of the Furry Raiders still go to conventions and they still try to sabotage the hell out of them. Well, like I said, I'll talk more about that in just a second. They're all over the place. It's important to know who you're dealing with. If you see this person in real life, you should probably run. You should probably run. So as you can see, BoxLer, first of all, look at that name, BoxLer. What does that remind you of? BoxLer reminds me of the word Bob Saget, which is a code word for Bob Saget. And look at that armband. Look at that armband. Look at that armband. Oh, wow. Wow, look at that. The similarities are striking, right? They're striking. So what's the big deal? There's people like this running around. I mean, there's people like this pretty much in every community that exists in the world. Pretty much every community has its bad eggs, right? It has its extremists, its weirdos. But these people take it like 12 steps farther. There's a website. How many are there? So before we look into Furry Raiders even more, they have a website, furryraiders.org, and they have registered members. So there's no real good estimates on how many members there are, but I can tell you how many registered members are on their website. There are 20 per page for 13 pages, and then page 14 has like 3. So there's 263 registered Furry Raiders on their website. There's no real numbers, no real statistics on how many furries there are, but I would place a good guess at around 1 million to 1.5 million right now, currently self-identified furries in the world. 1 million to 1.5 million. Now, that's just my opinion. That's not fact or anything. But if it's accurate, I think it's pretty darn accurate. Of course, you can have your own idea, but from what I've seen, there's just so many everywhere all over the internet. There can't be less than at least 1 million. So 1 million, okay, there's 263 Furry Raiders divided by 1 million. That is 0.02% of the total furry population. Such a totally negligible number of people, totally irrelevant group of people, so small compared to the grand scheme of things. Even if it was like 100,000 total furries, which we know that there's more than that. Even if it was just 100,000, right? 263 divided by 1, whoa, that's still 0.2%. That's nothing. That's still nothing. It's a very small, negligible part of the fandom. There's a very small, tiny little, the chance of you encountering a member of the Furry Raiders is so slim and so small. it's not even worth thinking about, you know? What's scary about it though is that this such a small amount of people, such a small group, can cause so many issues. So many issues. Let's take a look at the issues that have been caused. So according to WikiFurry, in 2016, for Rocky Mountain Fur Con, I don't know where that is, but I would. In April 2016, a controversy was generated when it became known that Furry Raiders had block booked 25% of the hotel rooms available at the Crown Plaza for Rocky Mountain Fur Con 2016, before the room block officially opened. After being contacted by RMFC staff, Furry Raiders declined to drop their reservations at the Crown Plaza. So basically, the Furry Raiders booked 25% of the total rooms that were supposed to be available as part of the room block for this convention. They did it before the room block even opened. So they just swooped in and stole all the rooms, basically, is what happened. And so that caused, they refused to let go of the rooms also. They just refused. So that caused this announcement to have to be made regarding the situation from RMC staff. We have exhausted all of the means that we have to officially try to get them to release the rooms. But we're sorry to say that neither the convention nor the hotel currently have policies in place to prevent this behavior, though we strongly disapprove it. We'll be taking direct action to implement policies with the Marriott next year to prevent this obscenely unfair behavior. Following the timeline, April 14th comes around. The Furry Raiders announced that they had released 25 rooms in total after talking with RMFC staff. Then that caused RMFC staff to make a corrected statement that says, the chairman would like to issue a correction to the statement posted on April 12th at 7:56 p.m. In that statement, we inferred that the Furry Raiders had refused to release the rooms in their room block. This statement was not entirely accurate. At the time, the Furry Raiders had stated that the rooms in the block had been given to members and friends, and from that, we inferred that they were refusing to release any of the rooms that they had reserved. Since this statement, the Furry Raiders have begun to cancel some of the unused rooms in their reservation and have stated they will continue to do so for unused rooms. RMFC would like to apologize to the Furry Raiders for any confusion or antagonism this statement might have caused. Again, feedback on this and any other news is always welcome here. If you prefer the feedback private, so on and so forth. Anyway, that happened in 2016, so they basically booked a bunch of rooms before the room block even opened, right? They swooped in and took them. Apparently they had released some of the rooms back to the convention room block, and that was that. So, Rocky Mountain Fur Con 2017 comes around. There's a lot of just stupid stuff. Oh my God, there's a lot of stupid stuff involved with this, including legal stuff and whatnot. But one of the main things that happened was on Twitter, I managed to find some screenshots of tweets where supposed gun violence was threatened towards someone named Deo Task Devil on Twitter. Deo Task Devil started, I don't know if they started this thread because as you can see, the lines that connect, there's a little tiny little line above this picture here, which means that this is a response to something. But Deo responded to something saying, can't wait to punch these grilled cheese sandwiches. Now, I wish that I could find the full context because I would love to see what is being responded to. Then someone named Olivia responds, watching you get shot by someone defending themselves from unprovoked assault will be far more entertaining. Then Dreamer Hyena says, sure hope you're not suggesting that someone would bring a gun to the convention. Then Olivia responds, sure hope you're not planning on attacking innocent folks. I fully support legal concealed carry. And then Dreamer Hyena says, you may support controlled carry, but the convention does not at the event. Leave it at home. And then an out of context screenshot that is responding to these two saying, are you threatening to bring a gun to RMFC? And then Olivia blocks them. So call me an idiot, right? But I don't see threats of bringing a gun in here. I don't. This is what caused, what the f? I don't even understand this situation. The more I look into it, the more stupid it is. Like, Rocky Mountain Fur Con 2017 comes around, and allegedly, someone within the Furry Raiders community threatened someone with gun violence at this convention. That, combined with several other legal things, resulted in the cancellation of this convention. So, the Furry Raiders were one of the causes of the cancellation of an entire convention. That gives you a little taste of what that group is all about, right? So the Furry Raiders are great. Group of people, totally wholesome. love doing nothing to cause trouble at all, ever. And what seems and appears to be their main leader, BoxLer, I don't want to say that he is the leader because I don't know, but it appears so. It appears that way, seeing as he is the furry
Bob Saget.
He has some interesting stuff to say as well. Let's watch a little video clip from him, shall we?
So I started researching, learning a little bit about it, and I eventually found out a little bit more information about like who
Bob
was and what was going down with the whole history issue and why people were so emotionally attached to it. And I decided to actually get involved with some
grilled cheese
groups to see how they were like. You know, you can't judge people right away. You gotta go in there and get your hands dirty, well, your paws dirty. You know, I signed up for the little forum online, paid my $25 membership. They wanted me to show that I was faithful to Judaism. So I made some comments on YouTube to show this loyalty based on what people expressed. And I got into it. They asked me a few questions. They also asked me a few other questions like what this whole furry thing was about. And I said to them, I dress up as an animal. And, you know, I find anthropomorphics hot. And then they were like, get the fuck out.
So as you can see, BoxLer actually joined a
grilled cheese
group. Woo! That's who we're dealing with. So people like this, people like the Furry Raiders, they've been causing trouble non-stop for the past couple years at lots of different conventions, lots of different places. People are very annoyed with it, you know, which is totally understandable. Their symbolism is very, very close to that of what actual grilled cheese sandwiches used. They do it all under the guise of helping to build a stronger community with projects that challenge social obstacles while encouraging personal creativity and expression. That sounds like Ajit Pai's explanation for why he wants to get rid of net neutrality. It's just not even at all anywhere near what reality is. According to WikiFurry, BoxLer has been criticized for tagging a Fur Affinity submission of his character's reference sheet as grilled cheese sandwich and grilled cheese sandwich, and referring to himself as such, performing a grilled cheese sandwich salute in fursuit for a photograph using a modified version of the grilled cheese sandwich Imperial War flag with the grilled cheese sandwich symbol replaced with a paw and the grilled cheese sandwich symbol replaced with a fox head design. Paying money to join a neo grilled cheese sandwich group, stating that he hates black people, it would not rally and would rally for the grilled cheese sandwich clan, saying I stand with Bob Saget, and referring to himself as BoxLer, the Bob Saget of the furry fandom, in addition to associating himself with the alt-right. What an interesting character. That's for sure. That's the context. That's the extra context that I didn't even mention in my original video because I didn't really know anything about any of this until it was told to me. So there is a lot of, this rabbit hole goes way deeper than I went in this video. There's so much information about the Furry Raiders, about BoxLer, about everything involved. There's so much, I cannot cover it in one video. I don't want to cover it anymore. I think it's annoying to talk about, honestly. This whole thing is annoying to talk about. It's dumb that I even have to talk about this. Honestly, it's just stupid. Now, one other thing that happened with BoxLer is at Denver, which happened like literally a couple days ago, a week ago maybe, I don't know, whenever it happened recently. He was escorted out of Denver, and I think they tried to book like a whole room block, just like they did with Rocky Mountain FurCon. They tried to do the same thing with Denver. It didn't work. They were escorted out, and they were kicked out, and that's great. BoxLer was literally walked out in shame from this convention before it even opened. So that's good. Here are some images of that happening right here and right here. There you go. So that's the context. That's basically that. Knowing all this information, what is my opinion now on the whole thing? On the whole grilled cheese sandwich furs frick off? Well, I still think it's stupid. After dealing with internet trolls and people who hate me for no reason other than to just hate me for so long on the internet, knowing what I know about how to handle them I think that provoking them is the worst thing you can possibly do. Having these ribbons at conventions does nothing than just provoke them. Not only does having these ribbons provoke them even further and make them just want to attack your conventions and ruin your time even more than before, but also people on the radical left now are taking that and pushing it to the extreme, the same way that the radical right, like BoxLer and their group, is pushing their Bob Saget as far right as they can into the extremist position. People are taking the grilled cheese sandwich furs frick off and pushing it to the extreme left to the point where they're calling anyone on the right, even a little bit on the right, you know, they're calling them grilled cheese sandwiches. Not everyone, just the extreme people who've taken it and run into the extreme. A very small percent of people do that, comparatively. Most people who support the ribbons just want the Furry Raiders gone, right? They just want that to happen. Now, they're not grilled cheese sandwiches. They're just not. The Furry Raiders are not grilled cheese sandwiches. They sure want to be, but they're not. The closest thing they are is neo grilled cheese sandwiches. So knowing the context, it's very clear to me now that the intent behind the grilled cheese sandwich furs frick off ribbons is directed much more so towards people like BoxLer, people like the Furry Raiders. It's still not really accurate because they're not grilled cheese sandwiches, but they want to be grilled cheese sandwiches. So it makes a lot more sense to me. It makes a lot more sense to me. And I think that if that is how you're using the ribbons, then that's okay. I still think it's a very ineffective and it's a very stupid way to get them to go away, because it's just going to antagonize them even more. And you know, it's gotten to the point now where when you try to do something to kick the bad out, get the bad people out, when you try to do something like that, you have your good people whose intent is to just remove the bad people and be done. That's their intent. Okay, they put something out to help people do that, like the ribbons. And then people who do not have the same intention take those ribbons and they use it to push their own agenda that anyone who leans even slightly right is what the ribbon is talking about when it's really not. And then those people are usually the most vocal on social media. So that's what you hear the most about on Twitter. And then that makes people who are slightly on the right, who are nowhere even close to the Furry Raiders or anything like that, they just lean to the right in their politics. They see it as now, because those extremists on the left have taken it and spun it around to mean anyone who even leans a little bit right. The people on the right now think that everyone who supports the ribbons is like that and is against them. It's just a big mess. It's a big mess. The whole thing just divides everyone. It divides everyone. I think the ribbons should be gone. Just get rid of them. My God, get rid of them. All it's doing is it's dividing people and it's antagonizing the people you want out even more. If you freaking ignore them, right? I know you can't just ignore them entirely, but if you ignore them on social media, if you don't give them the time of day, don't ever mention BoxLer's name, don't ever talk about them, just ignore them completely. Ban them from your vocabulary. Ignore them completely. When a convention rolls around, the convention should just preemptively ban everyone in that group. All Furry Raiders should be banned from every convention because they have a history of causing trouble and causing conventions to close down. They should just be banned. And that's it. That's the only time you should not ignore them, and that's the only way you shouldn't ignore them. Ban them from all events. If they show up anyway, call the police. It's as simple as that. If you just ignore them for everything else, they will go away. The reason that they're so present and they're so prevalent and everyone keeps talking about them is because everyone keeps talking about them. They get a high off of hearing their names. They're looking for a reaction. Trust me, when you have people who just hate you and want to ruin your fun, the worst thing you can do is to pay them any attention. The best thing you can do is ignore them and do it anyway. So that's my opinion, my revised opinion. I understand why it's happening now. That makes me much more glad to hear that not everyone is just a moron, that people are supporting these ribbons for an actual good, real, actual cause that is commendable. But I still think it's just the worst way to go about handling this situation. It's the worst way. I think it's the worst way, and I think it's dumb, and I think there's a much better way and much more effective way to handle it, as I've explained. But that's just my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I just wanted to add this context in here because if I didn't, I wouldn't have represented the situation properly. So there is that. You now have some extra context, and now you can make a much more informed decision about what your opinion will be than before. So I would feel bad not ever talking about the Furry Raiders or BoxLer or anything like that, because it does offer a totally different viewpoint on the whole thing. It's much more understandable why these ribbons exist and why they're happening. So that is that. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you all have a nice day. Support me on Patreon for just $1 a month. Link down below. Everyone who's on Patreon is amazing. Thank you. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and also subscribe to my second channel, Oh Whoa What's This, where I do vlogs about things and stuff. Links down below. Thank you for watching, everyone. Have a nice day.